with me, Annette Efeti Essome, and we begin with our top stories. Some farmers in the littoral region have received subvention to boost agricultural production. Forest experts encourage on-the-spot transformation of wood in countries of origin as they reflect on new strategies to combat illicit trade in the wood sector. The remains of a 36-year-old Ideya 1 council worker has been found in her septic tank after days of search by family members. Transporters in the Chadian capital N'Djamena have grounded their tools as they decry high custom duties charges. Development of these news will be yours right ahead. Good evening. You're welcome once again. Forestry experts are in Douala to reflect on new strategies to combat illicit trade of wood. The main focus is to encourage on-the-spot transformation of wood in countries of origin so that illicit trade can be eradicated. Details with Kejang Henry Atembe.
Cameroon is gradually moving towards responsible forest management based on international exigencies. Amongst global recommendations is the need for local transformation and the protection of biodiversity. Bound by the 2016 Johannesburg Accord with 50 other countries of the African continent, Cameroon and China have come a long way in the fight against illicit forest exploitation, against illicit trade in wood. A working group is meeting in Douala, Cameroon to reinforce domestic legislation on the exploitation and the commercialization of wood. At the end of the reflection, stakeholders will come up with an emergency plan for the fruitful collaboration between African states and China.
The program for the implementation or improvement of competitiveness of family agro-pastoral farms, ASEFA, has offered subvention to some farmers in the littoral region. This was today, and our reporter, Lorian Gamini, was part of the ceremony.
18 farmers have benefited from the largesse of the program for the improvement of competitiveness of family agro-pastoral farms, known by its French acronym ASEFA. The beneficiaries from the littoral region received a total of 174 million CFA francs to assist them in the agro-pastoral projects. This is the result of a convention signed between ASEFA and the Ministry of Livestock, Fisheries, Animal Industry, and the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development.
Sign of convention and giving the check, handing out the check to the farmers is first of all to help them to go and invest in their farms, to improve their production and their productivity, so that they can go and get the product on the market to increase their revenue. We have a disposition on the field. We have advisors. Those advisors work with farmers to elaborate their project, to submit their project at the divisional level to the divisional selection committee who selected them. And today we went through all the procedure, giving them out the check so that they can go as quickly as possible to invest, to improve their productivity. And by improving their productivity, they can improve their revenue. And once they will improve their revenue, imagine that the whole region will improve their revenue and the whole country will benefit. Then we are contributing to the economic growth of the country.
The funds are meant for agricultural development and increase the country's economic growth. Measures have been put in place to ensure the beneficiaries put the money into good use.
To make sure that this money is used to the purpose, first of all, we are giving them the first installment. They have to use this first installment according to their project document, and we are following step by step. Once they will use the first installment plus their own contribution, we will go on the field, verify everything, and we are giving the second installment. We are also following up the use of this second installment, and we are having independent body to go on the field to verify whether this has been done accordingly. If not, they will face the law.
The assistance to farmers will improve their production capacities and the standard of living.
We now talk politics, where the Patriotic Movement for Change, the MPCC party, has presented its 2018 presidential candidate. The party this April 26 presented Jean-Blaise Guet as their candidate to media men in Yaoundé. To the MPCC, he is the candidate with a new vision, the locomotive to bring a change in Cameroon. If voted, the MPCC candidate says he will establish the dignity of the former President Amadou Ahidjo and free all Operation Sparrowhawk prisoners. Socioeconomic development of the country is also top on his agenda. Let's listen to the MPCC 2018 presidential candidate Jean-Blaise Guet in an excerpt put together for us by Beatrice Ngamo. Well, we have this excerpt by the MPCC 2018 presidential candidate Jean-Blaise Guet, put together by Beatrice Ngamo.
And to find together, we have to stay together. We all love our country. And my intention is to bring hope to all Cameroonians. So we have to bring back hope, and we have to check how we can keep living together all without any problem. So I invite all Cameroonians to join us and to find new solutions for a better life for all Cameroonians.
Well, we continue in more news, political news, of course, like as we announced yesterday, Eno Abrahams Egwe is the new strongman of the elections organizing body in Cameroon, Elekam. He takes over from Samuel Fonka Azu, who has been at the helm of Elekam for the past 8 years. Eno Abrahams Egwe now has a task to organize all elections that will be coming up in 2018, especially the presidential election. More on this with Tabby Clarkson.
The former senior divisional officer and governor for 5 years, from 1997 to 2012, is henceforth the president of the Electoral Council. A presidential decree signed this April 25th makes Eno Abrahams Egbe president of the council. He takes over from Fonkam Azu, who for some time now has been at loggerheads with the Director of Elections Cameroon, Abdoulaye Babali. Eno Abrahams Egbe also served as Inspector General in the Ministry of Territorial Administration and Decentralization. Eno Abrahams Egbe, who is Senior Civil Administrator by profession, is therefore a man who knows administration and elections Cameroon, especially as before his appointment to the post of President of Elekam, he was one of the 18 members making up the electoral body. Mrs. Marie Ekobena will be assisting Eno Egbe Abrahams. Madame Ekobena will henceforth serve as President of Elections Cameroon. Mrs. Marie Ekobena is a graduate from the National Institute of Youth and Sport, the ENGS. She graduated from the school in 1983. She is a sports lady, as she served also as Inspector General in the Sport and Physical Education. She also did sociology in the University of Yaoundé. Mrs. Ekobena appears to be the woman that will help Eno Egbe Abrahams in his tedious task of electoral organization. The presidential decree signed Tuesday has also maintained some members in the body, notably Mrs. Dorothy Njoma. Eno Abrahams Egbe and Marie Ekobena will have as first real challenge the organization of the senatorial, council and legislative elections next year, equally the presidential election to come up by the end of 2018.
The fight against maritime insecurity, illegal fishing, and terrorism intensifies across the Gulf of Guinea. A Spanish military ship is on the Cameroonian territorial waters to make sure that this is put into place. This report.
On Cameroonian territorial waters, the military vessel Petrolero Vigor is proof of the strong cooperation ties between Spain and Cameroon. After anchoring on Cameroonian territorial waters for 2 months, littoral administrative authorities headed by its governor Samuel Dieudonné Ivaha has paid a visit. The Spanish vessel is cruising along the Gulf of Guinea as part of multinational tax efforts to fight against maritime piracy, illegal fishing and terrorism. It is a joint exercise between Cameroonian Navy and Spanish Navy. We are coming together to share our experience and techniques in order to combat piracy. We are working on vessels and boats. We want to arrest maritime insecurity. Our presence on the Gulf of Guinea is strategic. We have sent a lot of ships here. We are doing a lot of fishing. That is why we are so interested in ending maritime piracy. The 68-meter-long vessel has on board 75 crew members. The vessel is on its second voyage to Cameroon, the last being in 2013.
Well, we now move down to the southwest region where a plank building in Plakene Street, Boya Road, precisely in Mutengene, has gone into flames. The fire started around 10 a.m. this morning, and it is alleged that the cause might be due to poor cabling. Others have blamed it on the recurrent power supply instability by the state utility corporation in Neo that has rocked Mutengene lately. No human life was lost. However, there was huge material damage. We move on to other sad event, this time in the Senegal Maritime Division, where a 36-year-old lady has been discovered dead in the septic tank of her own house in one of the quarters in the Dia. The population was shocked by the news of the death of Andine Basoge, and it is not clear how she found herself in the safety tank. Rescuers have since this morning tried to remove her corpse from the sewage disposal tank. The State Council, the senior divisional officer for the Senegal Maritime Division, and other authorities came to the site of the incident. The lady's family has been searching for past days before this sad discovery. Her car and keys to her house were taken away. She was a worker at the Edeya 1 Council. We now move on to something else. Public Health Minister Andre Mamafuda has invited all Cameroonians to join in the fight against malaria. He was speaking in Yaoundé yesterday as Cameroon joins the rest of the international community to commemorate World Malaria Day. This report.
Such as drop in the rate of hospitalization due to malaria from 29 to 23% and mortality rate from 17 to 12%. Consequences of actions with high impacts.
You have free in charge of preventive treatment in the direction of pregnant women, the free of charge concerning simple malaria and concerning children under 5 years. And we know that, and the main actions concerning the mass campaign of distribution of bed nets, 12 million bed nets during 2015-2016.
Saluting these measures on the occasion of celebrations of the 10th World Malaria Day this April 2015 in Yaoundé, Public Health Minister Andre Mamafuda said many Cameroonians now sleep under treated mosquito bed nets.
And we think that is the time to conduct our country in the end of malaria. And if it's possible, if you start by two regions, far north and the north, because in these two regions, the malaria is seasonal. And we think that if you add pulverization, it's possible you destroy the vector.
The World Malaria Day is a day for the Ministry of Public Health partners in the malaria fight chain to intensify certain activities like that of anti-vectorial fight and care of cases of malaria. For this will go a long way to reach the goal. School kids of malaria clubs shared lessons they've learned on how to prevent malaria. Malaria ambassador Otto Maslen, like Auntie Chloe, all have educative songs on what we should do to avoid the killer disease, malaria, which is common, being sleeping on the treated bed nets. This year's World Malaria Day is under the theme, End Malaria for Good, and the slogan, We Can Be a Generation to End Malaria.
And in the dialect, so I give the floor.
A two-day training seminar to supply 5 councils in Cameroon with potable water and sanitation is ongoing in Douala. The project, which will rehabilitate non-functional water points and see the construction of public toilets amongst others, is partly sponsored by the European Union. Christelle Catala has details.
The access to potable drinking water is the major concern of some councils in Cameroon that are working to arrest the situation thanks to a partnership with 5 councils and 2 Italian councils.
The goal is to help them to manage those who exist already, those who are there now. But there are just few of them who have to be constructed. Then it is afterward they have to do that, because now if you go on the field, they are doing an activity that we call the diagnosis. During the diagnosis, you identify the problem of each side. If after that, they will just say that maybe in this locality this locality needs that point has to be constructed, for example.
The training with the Viterbo and Vassaleno councils is sponsored at 80% by the European Union, and the rest of the council will inject 20%. 3 public toilets non-functional, water points, among others, will be maintained.
Italy as a country, but Italy as council, because we have a specific council in Italy named Vassaleno. Yes, but Vassaleno have to bring 5,000 euros in this project. Yes, present the project or the program. The program is intercommunal project for sustainable water management infrastructure. So this program put in place or involved 5 councils of Cameroon: the Council of Jan, the Council of Kiosi, Congo Tongo, Konzem, and Douala 5.
Representative of the African Association of Water from Ivory Coast and a delegation of Italian councillors were present at the ceremony.
A colloquium on human and natural catastrophes is ongoing in Yaoundé. Participants from across Africa are upgrading their skills on managing such catastrophes. This report with Tabby Clarkson.
An international colloquium on the management of natural, human and technological catastrophes opened this Tuesday morning in the International War College in Simbok, Yaoundé. The opening ceremony was presided at by the Secretary of State for Defense in charge of the National Gendarmerie, Jean-Baptiste Bokam. During his speech, Minister Bokam reiterated the need to better prepare on how to better manage catastrophes when they do occur, especially as they occur suddenly. Taking the floor, the commander of the International War College, General Gambu Isaï, said the Yaoundé International Colloquium was very timely and important.
If you remember what happened to Cameroon and in other African countries, you can see that it's very important to define the roles of everybody when catastrophe happens. That is why we we reflect and decide to reflect in this on this theme.
During the 2 days colloquium, several topics will be on discussion, notably that of how to better manage a catastrophe like the plane crash at Bagampongo some years ago in Douala. Those taking part in the international colloquium are coming from some 16 African countries. The main message and wish of authorities is that the military and the civilian population have to work hands in glove in times of catastrophes.
Celebrations have continued in the refugee camp of Lolo Ebele in the East region of Cameroon following the reuniting of 3 families who were declared missing after conflict breakout in the Central African Republic. D. Morin completes this happy story.
It is the happiest moment for these 3 children who have just regained their families after 3 years of separation following conflicts in the Central African Republic. The ceremony is holding at the refugee camp of Lolodi in the East region of Cameroon. Families are in tears as they welcome back their lost loved ones. Mimi, 12 years, and Yusufu, 14 years, have regained their families thanks to combined efforts of the Red Cross and the High Commission for Refugees. It is a joyful moment for us. We are happy to see these children reunite with their families. That is our mission, and other organizations who are out to put smiles on the faces of families. A total of 16 families have regained their families since the start of the year. Yusufu tells me he had lost hope of seeing his family. He thought everyone had died after the war sparkled. He knew the reunion was real when he saw a message from his mother through the Red Cross mission, he says. The Red Cross and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees say they are working to ensure lost families are reunited.
World transporters in the Chadian capital of N'Djamena have expressed dissatisfaction following an increase in custom duties and other charges. They say the increase is affecting their businesses negatively, and for that reason, they have decided to ground their tools. This report with Ambo Gladys.
These trucks are loaded with goods, several of them owned by Cameroonian business persons. They have been grounded in N'Djamena Chad by transporters following increase on custom duties, transit taxes as well as other charges. The truckloads of goods left Cameroon's economic capital Douala a month ago and are yet to reach their destinations. Transporters have gone on strike to denounce increase on custom duties. Honestly, it is difficult. We are unable to even find those who own the goods. Earlier, the ambassador confirmed to us that the situation will return to normal later in the hours ahead. Officials of the transport sector and the Cameroon ambassador to Chad, Ba Umaru Sanda, held a meeting to that effect to seek lasting solutions to the problem, which has already caused a loss of about 90 million francs CFA.
Well, that's where we call it out for this 8 p.m. edition of the News on Canal, the English. Thanks for watching.